Okay, Peter. Now this is my debut interview, and you've got to be patient with me because a little bit nervous. But you have a little story for us of a memory that you have during the Second World War.
Yes, you wanted me to tell you a story about the war. Well, of course, I was just a child when the war started. I was 12 years old, actually, and so I don't know whether we thought it was exciting or not, but we soon found out that realities weren't as exciting as we thought they might be. And I lived on the east coast of England, and that was the place where the fighters and the bombers left to do their business in Germany. And well, many things happened. We saw dogfights in the sky, and we saw anti-aircraft at night firing at enemy planes. But one particular incident was a bit traumatic in that a lot of the aeroplanes that went over to bomb Germany got themselves very shot up in the process, and living near an aerodrome, they came over us quite low, and there was one that, there were many actually, but the one that was I experienced was that it crashed not too far away from the house that I was in, and of course everybody except the rear gunner actually was killed, and that was the first time in my life that I had experienced such a thing and seen a dead body. So the war wasn't a great deal of fun for anybody, and it was a wake-up call to a young child at that time.
And did you have brothers and sisters?
I do, yes. I have one brother, yes.
Yeah. Did they sort of like deal with it in a similar sort of way to yourself?
Oh, well, yes, I'm sure they do. They would see and experience the exact same things that we all did, yes. Mm-hmm.
Was there any sort of like more kind of pleasant memories that you have of during the war years? Was there any sort of like, I dare say, like there was really kind of like, had sort of many
pleasant memories? Well, the whole of my childhood in a way was pleasant. I think I had a wonderful childhood, and I can't yes, I suppose perhaps one of the more pleasant things was that when the American GIs came over, obviously Britain, we were under severe rationing, and we didn't know what a banana looked like, and we'd never seen a melon, and we'd never had, well, very little chocolate and things like that. So when the Americans came over as GIs in their very posh suits and their jeeps and things, all of us kids loved them because they loved all kids, and they would hand out what they called candy to us, you know, and I hate to say also cigarettes, which at 12 you really shouldn't have had, but it was an age when everybody at all ages smoked, and so yeah, that was fun. We thought they were wonderful, and one of them used to come to the house of a friend that I hung out with, and eventually actually married the sister of the brother. So we had sort of a pretty close association with a lot of the GIs. So they were happy memories, yeah.
Yeah. If there can be any happy memories during war, like because that's a bit of a silly question, really.
Well,
to say, like,
as a child, I don't think you really understand the serious importance of it. And we didn't get a lot of information because we only had radios that ran on batteries, which had to be recharged, so you only put them on very occasionally. Cinemas had newsreels, which you hoped spelt you the truth, and newspapers, you followed the war by the diagrams and illustrations in the paper of what was happening. So really, as a child, you didn't get an awful lot of information.
As the war was kind of nearing its end, could you feel that it was coming towards the end, like coming to like 44, 45?
Oh yes, oh very much.
Could you feel it in the atmosphere?
Oh yes, because as everybody knows, we had this wonderful politician named Winston Churchill who mobilised the whole country when it was on its knees by the skill of his oratory, and of course you know, there were reports of how we were advancing through Europe and what was happening, and yes, you really knew that the end was near a year before, I would think.
Do you remember the day when it was officially announced?
Yes, I do remember the day, and I remember the the day when the Japanese war finished, I can remember exactly where I was at the time, and I was on holiday with an aunt in the south of England, and I remember that day exactly.
Really? And when obviously, like when the Second World War drew to its close, was there lots of parties on the streets?
Oh
and
my
lots of things?
goodness, there was, yeah, absolutely. Well, there's so much archive material of what went on, but everybody was so joyful and relieved, and there certainly were parties in every street, and certainly in London. I mean, there are pictures of Trafalgar Square with everybody dancing, people climbing up lampposts and all sorts of things. Yes, yes, it was a day for celebration. Yes, before we had to buckle down and try and win the peace, as they say.
No, definitely. Sort of thing you'd see, like people crawling around Trafalgar Square if England win a football game or something like that.
Similar, yeah, similar, yes. But of course it wasn't the sort of thing that ever happened really in our circle in our lifetime.
Yeah, okay. All right, Peter, so like that's a fantastic, you know, you've given me like and given us quite an insight into that part of your life. But obviously, moving a bit more up to date, up to the 21st century, is YouTube. How it sort of like came into your life and everything. Now, I'm actually struggling, Peter, to get 1 subscriber on my channel, let alone almost 60,000. You know, it is a remarkable story. And what is the secret? I'd love to know. I really want to know.
Well, if I tell the honest answer, pure luck, because I told the story so many times before, so I won't elaborate on it, but the fact was that I did go onto YouTube purely, I think, at the time as an experiment and almost by accident. But because YouTube was and still is the platform for young people, an old man going on, or an elderly man, or a senior, or however polite you want to be, would do such a thing, was a news item. And for some reason Reuters found out about it, and then that information was splashed across televisions all over the world, newspapers, magazines, all over the world. So that is why I got the attention, not what I did, but the fact that this old person had done it, you know. So that's how I got the, well, I mean, I think I got 20,000 subscribers sort of straight away, and they have built up over the years, but that was the initial impact. And as a result, of course, I like to feel, no, proud isn't the right word, but I like to feel because of what I have done, then that has encouraged more older people, not of my age necessarily, although there are 1 or 2, but people above the age of 23, 4, 5, to do the same thing. And by doing that, I think we now have a wide age range, and I think that's very good, because in real life the generations don't mix outside of families, and I think here we have a platform where young and old can mix in a, you know, not in a physical way, but through the medium, and that might break down some of the stereotypical images that we have of each other. And I suppose really, in a way, that's one of the reasons why I keep doing my silly little videos, because hopefully if I can present myself as they might expect a grandfather to be, then maybe some of those barriers will be broken down. And from an older person's point of view, by seeing all the young people on video on YouTube, and I watch so many of them, then although I never had a bad opinion about young people, I certainly respect their behaviour and their skill, and so the thing works both ways.